What's up guys, it's me, Jay, and this video is going to be uploaded a little late because for Shadowhunters this week, I was actually in Boston and I couldn't film. So, it's going to go up whenever I finish editing it, and yeah, I'll try and do the sneak peek and the promo all in one video that comes out maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But yeah, I was in Boston and I couldn't film. This episode was kind of underwhelming, but I'll get to it in a little bit, so let's get started. So the official synopsis for this episode is, is after centuries of being lied to and treated poorly by the Clave, the Downworlders decide to come together and take matters into their own hands as the hunt for Valentine and Sebastian intensifies. But what starts off as a way to preserve their own, the Downworlders choose to break with the Shadowhunters could escalate to war. And I could believe that. Seeing what I watched on Monday, it's believable. So, what could happen now is the question for 220. So, that was the official synopsis. And now I'm gonna get to the recap part of the video. And yeah. So my recap starts off at the beginning of the episode when we see Sebastian on a roof punching something and yelling into the air, which is really weird. It's almost like a teenager letting out anger in a way, but like, what are you gonna say? Then we see Sebastian going back to his apartment, well, the actual Sebastian's apartment, and Valentine's there, and Sebastian tells Valentine that he doesn't have the mortal mirror, and Valentine's not too happy about that, so Valentine could not believe that he let the mortal mirror just leave his hands like that. And so then we see a little bit later Luke and Raphael at Magnus's loft, and Magnus tells them that him and the warlocks are siding with the Sealies and for protection, and yeah. And then there's a secret that I'll get it right. There's a secret that Magnus has to tell Luke and Raphael to get them on board, but we don't get to hear it, and I really want to know what it is, but they don't find out that, so sadly. Then we see Alec call an emergency downworld cabinet meeting. Whew, that's a tongue twister. But we see that, and Alex trying to convince them to help the Shadowhunters find Valentine and Sebastian. But since the Sealy Queen is there instead of yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Since he's not there, the Sealy Queen's speaking as a whole for the whole downworld, and says no to helping the Shadowhunters find them. And you see all the Malik angst in that scene, and you see Raphael and Luke saying bye to Isabel and Clary, because they really can't talk anymore because of this whole allegiance thing that they have set up, and so they kind of have to part ways. And so the Sealy Queen and Magnus walk out together, while Luke and Raphael just stay behind and talk to the Shadowhunters for a little bit. Then Clary goes to Simon to see if Simon could convince the Sealy Queen to change her mind about helping the Shadowhunters. And at first, Simon doesn't agree to do it. And then after a little bit of convincing, that happens. And we see the Sealy Queen and Simon talking about the alliance that they have there all set up. And Simon realizes that the Sealy Queen doesn't want to change anything really. She kind of wants to start a war, even though the Sealy Queen says that she doesn't, which I don't believe her one bit. But who knows? And the Sealy Queen offered Simon protection, but he didn't accept it, and he left the Sealy Queen looking rather pissed. And so we see that, and we then see Valentine and Sebastian trying to leave the portal from Warlock, but the Warlocks put a barrier around the whole city, so no one that's a Shadowhunter, because I don't actually know how to pronounce it, but no one that's a Shadowhunter could leave, and so they're stuck there. And then Luke's pack comes in and surrounds the circle members and possibly kills them. We don't know. But sadly, Sebastian and Valentine escape. And we then see... sorry, my nose is starting. I don't know why. And then we see Clary coming up with a plan to find Sebastian using the Morgenstern blood in her, and some weird way the angelic blood that Jace and her share, and then in a glowy room scene, which is really stupid, by the way. It was stupid. Very, 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 very stupid and pointless and ridiculous and pointless. Did I say pointless? It was pointless. So you see that, and then they find him and they go to the cemetery, because that's where he's hiding. And it was Alec, Izzy, Jace, and Clary in the cemetery. And they get ambushed by Forsakens, which are mundanes that have angelic, powerful runes on them, and it's too much for them to bear, and they go crazy. Which reminds me of the zombies from The Walking Dead, or literally any zombie movie. Just saying. But that happens, and so it was Alec and Jace together, and Izzy and Clary together, and so we see them fighting the Forsakens, and then we see Jace and Alec get separated. Jace was kidnapped by Sebastian, who happens to have a chain wrapped around his neck. So Sebastian drags Jace to a bridge and kind of ties the chain around a bar on the bridge and chokes him, and Jace, being the cocky asshole that he is, coax Sebastian into fighting, and for a little bit it was going back and forth until Sebastian stabbed Jace, but of course they wasn't going to kill Jace. So you see Izzy come up and distract him for a little bit, talking about how she trusted him, and like he saw her at her lowest moment, and so Jace and Izzy kind of double teamed him, and Jace stabbed Sebastian in the back through the chest, and we see that Sebastian falls into the river, which usually means that he's coming back. From the horror movies I watch, that's usually what it means. They might change it. So we go back to the Institute and we see Chase and Clary together. They kiss, blah blah blah. Who cares? And then you see Simon trying to find Luke because Maya's missing, and we see that Maya somehow ended up in the ceiling realm, and we don't know why, but it might have something to do with Simon rejecting the Sealy Queen twice. That could have something to do with it, but I don't know. But that was the whole episode, and yeah, I don't know. Time to review it, I guess. Let's go review it. I'm filming this after I filmed the video already, and I forgot to mention one crucial thing that happened at the end of the episode, and that was when we saw the Sealy Queen and Valentine meeting, and at first it looked like the Sealy Queen was gonna try and kill Valentine, but then Valentine mentioned something about having something that she would want, and he whispers something into her ear, but we don't know what it is, and then they go walk off like they formed an alliance or something, and it's very confusing considering what we've seen from the Sealy Queen already this episode, and it's kind of weird since he killed like a lot of downworlders. The downworld should not even want to be like associated with Valentine in a good way. So seeing that really changed the whole dynamic. Wait, it changed the whole mindset. I don't want to say mindset, but it changed the views I had for the Sealy Queen. I still hate her, but it changes it because now it seems like she's a villain working with Valentine for some reason, and yeah. So, forgot to say that, so there you go. Now it's officially bye. So this episode wasn't that great. I mean, it was a good episode if you just consider the fight scenes that were there. But other than that, it was kind of bland. It was good, but it wasn't the best. Because we had 218 last week that left everyone dead and hurt and crying and stuff. And then you see 219 hoping that it would be as great as 218, but then it just went down. And then you have 220 that looks amazing from the promo, and you just have to kind of go through the little mishap, you could say, that was 219. But other than it being bad and kind of incoherent to what the other things that happened before it, it was kind of bland and kind of sad that it was so bland. But I still did like the episode, and I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. But it wasn't that great. I mean, the acting was amazing. The fight scenes were amazing. It was the writing that kind of brought the whole episode down. And it was a bummer because you had such an amazing episode last week, and you go in kind of hoping you would have the same type of experience, but then you get hit with like Magnus being sad and heartbroken and kind of a dick. I see why he's a dick, but it's totally not like him. It makes me sad to see that. Hating on like my favorite character. Like not hating, but like criticizing it. And it makes me sad having to do that because of the writing in the episode. I mean, Magnus has a way of dealing with things, and what we saw this week wasn't typically how he dealt with things. He usually like sat around, really not being a dick about things. But other than that, I really didn't like the episode. I mean, there's too much Clace for me. You guys know that I hate Clace and I hate climbing, but I could deal with climbing more than Chase. Place. I could deal with that more than, yeah, you understand me, right? Hopefully. But in the comments down below, tell me what you thought of the episode. And that was it. I'll see you next time. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe next week. You'll see me next time. I love you guys. I will see you next episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. And give it a big like. And go hug your pet dog. Go hug your family. Just send love to everyone. Tell everyone about Shadowhunters so they can watch. And I hope you enjoyed. I probably already said that. But I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye. Keep me wishing for a burner. The kid ain't like walking. You know that it's on the furnace, but it's your beat. Like the bunch, but you know, beat, balance for wallet. Kid ain't like walking. You know that it's on the furnace. Timmy, Turner. Keep me wishing for a burner. The kid ain't like walking. You know that it's on the furnace, but it's your beat. Like the bunch, but you know, beat, balance for wallet.